All right, happy Friday to every one of you guys. Welcome to another broadcast. We're going to give people time to get on. Thank you so much for joining us. Another week and month is for the history books now. And like I said, we'll give people just a little bit of time to get on, maybe about a little over a minute. While you're here, make sure you check out our website, sambatree.com, sambatree.com, for all your health and wellness needs. Make sure you check out sambatree.com. All right, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm so glad that you guys are here with us today. Today is June. Wow, I'm trying to get to June, y'all. Today is January the 31st, 2025. I'm trying to get all my stuff here together here, and let's see here. Just something I was supposed to have received. I don't have it. But what I will do is I will go to something else. Anyway, so glad to have you guys here today. You see what we're going to be talking about today. We got a full deck here, and we're going to try to fit it under an hour because we know that for some of y'all, you just ain't got the time. You just got to have it and got to have it right now. So we're going to jump right into it. Let me give you the order of service as follows. We're going to be talking about, there's something that we have just released. There's something that we just launched. It's going to be our own emergency alert system. Yeah, for real. We're going to do it. And instead of waiting for other people to do it, we're going to do it ourselves. And we have done it. And we're going to fill you in on the details on that one. We're also going to talk about, just a little bit more. If you've seen the post I did on the community page, you saw quite a few, people, that are upset about Trump bringing up the whole DEI thing and how dare he blames black people for the crash. And that is not what happened at all. That is not what he's doing. And I'm not even a Trump guy and didn't even vote for him. But we are about the truth about what this is really about. And we are going to take our time and we're going to look at the details. We're going to look at the actual receipts of who these people are that are out here, this specific demographic, and why they are upset about people touching their precious DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. All right, we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Biden. Did you know that Biden now is considered a master Mason now within the Prince Hall Freemason world? Yeah, that's supposed to be the inner circle of the black community, Prince Hall Freemasons. Prince Hall had to travel to the UK to get approval to create a copy of the Freemasons, a black version of it. And they say, sure, why not? Just keep us, keep tabs on the Negroes and let us know what they're up to and what they're doing. And yeah, you can take our name and all of that, and we'll feed you a bone every now and then. And so there you go. That's the Freemasons, the Prince Hall Freemasons. Well, I guess things have come full circle because now they have invited, and he is accepted to become a master mason within the Prince Hall Freemason circle, as if he really needed that. And then finally, we're going to talk about the this so-called boycott. We've mentioned it before. If you didn't see the last broadcast that we did, where we really dove into this, really the economics of this and just the historical back of this story of all of this and what led up to this, make sure you check out that video, okay? Because there's a whole ton of emotion that's out there and people just all over the place. But here's where all of that stops. And we actually look at the actual details here, and we measure things, and we look at what is actually being said here. And then most importantly, we leave it up to you to make the decision and choice on where you want to go with the information. We just want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to present to you the information as is, without all the extra emotion and this is why we got to do it and we got to do all this and they trying to attack us and they trying to take us away and they're going to lead us back in chains and we're going back into slavery and all of that. No, we don't do that here. Okay. Nobody's going into slavery. Nobody's going into chains. Nobody's doing that. Okay. But anyway, let's see here. If you're part of Sabbatry, hold on. Let me. I know what she's talking about. I'll just unfortunately have to I'll have to be the email today, Nicole, if you're listening. There's two things that we just sent an email out on. This part is going to be very quick, okay, but very important. If you go to sabbatry.com, let me go ahead and pull it up. Not here, but here. All right. We just added. I think there's 2 items that have just been added here. All right. Number one, many of you have been asking about this. Many. That's all I got to say is many. We just added this. It's in limited quantity though. These are fruit sea moss gels. And these are the flavors that they come in. And boy, man, let me tell you, I'm not hyping it up. For those of you who have taken it, who've ordered this in the past, you know how good it is. So if this is sea moss already processed, right? Real sea moss, and it's excuse me, there's different purees, natural purees that have been added to it. In this case here, you're looking at strawberry, but we also have mango, we have pineapple, and we have blueberry pineapple sea moss gel. Let me just read it out for you right here real quick here. It's made fresh. It's shipped frozen. We got to freeze it. And if you buy 3, you will save $15. There's a discount that's given to you at checkout. They will ship between 2/6 and 2/7. So February the 6th and February the 7th. Let me just read it for you real quick. The delicious fruit infused sea moss gel combines the nutritional benefits of freshly harvested sea moss with the great taste of fresh fruit. Our superior formula is packed with 92 minerals, naturally aiding digestion and boosting your immune system with no artificial preservatives. You can trust that our fruit-infused sea moss gel is a healthy and delicious addition to your diet. And then goes on, and like it says here, the ingredients, they're very clean. Sea moss, water, fresh fruit, and agave. That's it. There is nothing else added. Nothing at all added. That's it. So if you're looking for a very tasty way to get sea moss into you, this is an awesome way to do it. So you want to make sure you jump on this because, like I said, we had a ton of people. This is a seasonal thing. We don't sell it too much. We don't sell it too often. But when we get it, people jump right on it and it's gone before we know it. So if you are interested, you make sure you jump on that. Here's the other thing that we just got too. Many of you have been looking for, we had a product in the past that was good for pain relief, like muscular pain or whatever, aches and pains. and you're looking for a natural, we don't do Ben gay here, okay? Nobody's gay on this end, okay? We do natural, okay? But we don't do Ben gay. Ben can stay gay, okay? But we don't do that here, okay? But we do have this maximum relief, deep penetrating pain ointment. We had to go to the Amish people, for real, for real. It ain't just called that. We actually had to go to the Amish people. We wanted to know what y'all do. What do y'all use? And here it is right here. Allows a deeper penetration and provides longer lasting, ultra soothing relief. A medicated formula that provides therapeutic, deep penetrating relief. And this is it right here. And it's also good for arthritis, colds, sore throats, restless leg. I wish I had that a few weeks ago. And aching joints. This thing is the bomb. My wife, she's actually used it, and it's great. Oh, here are the active ingredients: menthol, oil of camphor. Other ingredients is menthol, salicylate. Hope I'm saying that right. Eucalyptus oil, oil of pine needle, and snow white petroleum. Snow white petroleum. So it ain't like, it's all the real stuff. Okay, all real, all natural. That's what's in on this product as well that we're offering here. Now, this one I don't think is in limited supply, but you definitely want to jump on that as well. Okay, if you have an email, if you're on our email list, you should have received the email. So check your email, check your spam folder and all that for all the details. I would go over it with you, but I don't have it with me right now. So, but you could check it there. I thought I had it, but I don't. But anyway, let's move on. Okay, shall we? Now, recently there is, I don't know if you guys have been following the news. I try to stay pretty much up to date on the news, especially when it comes to these different health things that they always are trying to pop up and always are trying to scare us and trying to say, oh, here it comes. Here's another thing. Oh, you got to be scared. There's a outbreak of this and there's an outbreak of that and all that other stuff, right? And a lot of times we hear these things and we don't know what the heck to do, right? We don't know. We're just like, oh Lord, all of that, right? And we always say over here, don't fall for it. We always say that, don't we? And what is another thing we always say? You are your own primary physician. In other words, we're not telling you never to go to a doctor. We're not saying that. But the analysis of your health should begin with you, okay? And then from there, it's up to you to determine, hey, listen, let me go to a professional and let me seek some additional help with this or whatever. But it should start with you. If you feel a headache, your first inclination shouldn't be, let me go ahead and run and get my, let me go to the doctor. No, that's your body's way of telling you, uh-oh, there's a red flag. Something is going on. And then you got to go back. You always start off, okay, what did I eat last? Or was it how I'm sleeping? Is it the bed? Is it, you got to go through the whole list. Because the doctor, all they're going to do is say, here's a pack of pills. Oh, yeah, that's $300. Don't worry about it. Your insurance will cover it and you good. You don't want to do that. No, you always want to start first with you. You're the primary physician here. And in these days that we're in right now, there is going to be an increase of them trying to scare the hell in you, okay? And trying to get you all feared up and worried about some outbreak. Now, recently there was a, if you go in the news, they were talking about how there was there's a current outbreak that's happening right now of tuberculosis, okay? And it's potentially very serious. It's treatable, but it could be very serious if you don't pay attention to it, if you don't get it taken care of. It's basically a chest cold that's on another level. I'm just watering it down to a very basic thing, and it can be contagious. All right. But this is a breakout that is taking place in Kansas. There are also a couple of cases that broke out in Colorado and I think another state as well. So it's at first when the story came out, local officials were saying that this was the largest outbreak in American history. And then they had to reel that back and say, no, actually the largest outbreak of tuberculosis was back in 1917 or something like that. So they had to reel that in. But nonetheless, it is quite significant. So we've been telling you that I'm constantly, if I'm looking at technology, and I'm always looking at ways that we can use technology to get information out to our people in the most efficient way, and just, that can help and benefit all of us, right? So I was looking at a few things. I know what I wanted, but I was trying to figure out what was the best way. So anyway, what we came up with is what we're calling a emergency herbal response. Okay, an emergency herbal response. So basically, anytime we hear of these outbreaks that take place, what we're going to do, if you are part of our email list, all right, our email list over at sombertree.com, all you got to do is go to sombertree.com, scroll to the bottom. Don't worry, you don't have to buy a thing for this. Okay, you can just subscribe to it. Sombertree.com, scroll to the bottom, and there's a little space there where you can add your email and address, and then you're automatically in. Okay. Anytime we hear about any of these outbreaks, when it hits national news and they're saying that, oh, there's an outbreak of this, they were trying to say there was an outbreak that was starting to happen in, in Altadena, at some of the shelters. They were trying to say that, oh my God, it's a outbreak that's about to, that's taking place in some of the shelters. There's also, there was somewhere else too where they were saying that there was some outbreak. Okay. But anytime there is an outbreak that takes place that we hear about, what we want to do is we want to get an email out to you as quickly as possible that's going to highlight all the herbs that we were able to focus on, we were able to locate, and find, and herbs that you don't, and it's not things that you have to buy from us. Okay. These are things that, because if it's an emergency, it's probably going to be a lot quicker for you to get it locally. Okay. So on the sheet, and I'm going to show it to you. All right. It's going to outline, well, why not just go ahead and show you right now so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. All right. So what you're going to do is, let's go back to the sombertree.com page. Again, you don't have to buy anything to do this. All right. So next time you're on sombertree.com, what you're going to do is go to the top, and you see where it says blog. Go ahead and click on that. And this is the blog. We already got a few posts up here already. We just posted something about how to use turmeric, your complete guide. And it has a whole bunch of stuff in there, and you want to check that out. But here is one right here. This is the one I'm talking about. The emergency herbal response for a tuberculosis outbreak. So this is how it's going to look, okay? And this is a natural herbal guide for tuberculosis treatment based on natural healing principles. And what we did was I actually created an AI database, if you will. I did this where I am actually, because I have Dr. Sebi books and some other sources, and I combined all of that data into a database. And what I did was I used AI to kind of like use that as, this is the primary thing I want you to pull from. I want you to pull data primarily from these sources anytime someone has a question regarding any kind of sickness, disease, recipes, or whatever. Those are the primary sources. The secondary sources are going to be anything else, because I really want people to focus on herbs that come out of places like Africa and the Caribbean. All right. And that's what this database, where this information is coming from. Okay, so anyway, so what you're looking at here, I'm just going to go through it very quickly here. Natural herbal guide for tuberculosis treatment, and then herbal treatments. And what we did in this alert, you're going to have things like this, like not only what herbs you should be looking at, but also the dosage and the best method of application. So there's no confusion at all. All right. So all you have to do is, if something were to break out like that, you just have to you already got a list of top herbs that you should be focused on, and there's no confusion. Well, I don't know what to do with it, because we hear that a lot. I got all these herbs, but I don't even know what to do with it. Well, now you know. All right. It's showing you exactly the best way to take it, how to take it, and how often. All right. And then it's a whole list here. And then additional recommendations, drink plenty of alkaline water daily. We'll just say spring water. Avoid mucus-forming foods like dairy, processed foods, and starches, so forth and so on. And then in addition, what you will also get is a 7-day recommended, or I'll just say a guide, meal plan. And so basically this is, you don't have to follow it to the T, but it gives you an idea of how to take that information that we just covered here and to make it practical where it's part of your daily routine until you get better. All right. And so, day one, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, snack options, so forth and so on. And you just follow the same format. And like I said, you just go by what's best for you. You know what I mean? You can customize it, but at least you have something that you can follow. There's actually a little more I'm probably going to add on there because it just says day one. There's actually like 6 other days I got to add on there, but I'll add that later. But this is what you'll get if you all you have to do, again, you go to sambatree.com, right? Just scroll down to the bottom. You see where it says subscribe to our emails. Just put your email there. And then anytime in the future when we hear about some kind of breakout or something like that, you will, look for an email from us. And it will tell you, okay, what you need to do and how do you need to do it and all of that. We actually already shared this information with our hotline group yesterday. And we'll be doing things like that. I was also looking for a way I can text it to folks if they wanted that information, as well, so that you just get it just like that. Okay. And if there's anybody at all that's outside of the United States, because I know we got friends and family in Canada, in the Caribbean, also in the UK. Make sure you email us, okay? You can still email us, okay? And we will put something specifically for you, all right? And help you out in whatever it is that they're trying to scare you with. And that way you already straight. You can take that information, print it out, send it to your friends and family so everybody in your household is straight and you know what to do before you run off and start getting a whole bunch of pills and injections and all that stuff, things that in most cases you really do not need. Okay, so that is something that we're doing right now. Again, make sure you subscribe to our email list so that you can get access to it. Again, it's free and you don't have to buy anything. But again, for those on our mailing list, their email just went out. Although, telling you of a promo that we're running right now, a couple of promos that we're running right now. Be sure to also make sure that you sign up for our rewards program, because every purchase you make there, you will get points that can go towards all kind of things. Okay. And that's just our way of saying thank you for being the best part of what Samba Tree is. And that's you. All right. So again, thank you so much. Let's move on. So, and to what other things we're going to be talking about here. Now you've been hearing a lot about, someone left a comment here. Let me see if I can pull it up here under the latest post that we had over on our community page here. Let me get it up here. Hey, where did it go? Podcast playlist. Oh, post. Okay. I was like, oh, did YouTube take that down? What the heck happened? Anyway, I was like, hold up now. Anyway, here we go. Yeah, because our name used to be called Community, and they must have changed the name of it. Anyway, here's the image here. And I wanted to play along with the whole, my daughter, she being funny, she sent me that original image of the black women sitting on the rooftop, because they're still trying to pass that along. This particular demographic, I'm talking to 92%, they're still out here wanting to daily remind people that we ain't trying to do nothing. Don't look to us. Okay, stay on the rooftop then. We don't care. Enjoy the view. You got your coffee and you got a view and enjoy it. We ain't asked. Okay, fine. We're going to live our life. Like I said, we ain't going to do nothing. Don't ask us for anything. Nobody's asking you for anything. Boo. Just enjoy the view up there. but they still can't. We told you they ain't gonna be quiet. So now all of a sudden they get a little militant now. They ain't just sitting up there. Now they are calling in fear strikes. They're calling in them fear airstrikes now. You know, you got the lady up here talking about, tell these niggas that Jim Crow is coming back. They're trying to think of anything at all to scare you, to scare the hell in you, to try to get you. Oh my goodness, he's trying to take away all of our rights. He's trying to put us back in chains, and all the same tactics that they've been saying over and over again. That didn't work for the elections, and they still out here. Here's a comment that's on Psalms 31:24. She wrote, she said, sadly, I just saw a post on YouTube of a black woman giving warning to all black people to make sure that they carry a certified copy of their birth certificate around with them at all times, because they are going to be stopping and arresting black people unless we can prove that we were born here. The fear tactics are for real, and sadly, folks are falling for the fear and panicking. This is what they're doing now. This is what they are yelling from their rooftop view of a burning America. They are trying to scare you to try to come up on their rooftop. Nobody wants to come on your rooftop. First of all, y'all probably ain't got no bathrooms up there. Ain't no where you gonna get your food. Y'all drinking coffee or tea or whatever, but where you gonna get your real food? You can't cook up there because that's a fire violation, isn't it? I think if you try to cook on a rooftop like that, it's not probably, fire safety, that kind of thing. So you probably won't be able to do that. So what you gonna eat? And then with all that smoke coming up, I don't want to breathe all that in. That ain't necessarily where I want to be. So enjoy the view. That's what you want. But here they can't stop. They can't help themselves. They got to scare you. They yelling all this fear down from above, telling you, like according to what she's saying here, that you got to make sure now you got to carry your birth certificate. You got to carry your freedom papers. Because they going to come and get you. At any given moment, the cops are going to all of a sudden think that you are, you don't belong here. I ain't doing that. You can do that. I ain't doing that. And I don't need to do that. And you don't need to do that. Okay? Unless if you in this country illegal, then you got something to worry about. But no, you ain't got to worry about that. Not at all. So what this is that they're trying to get black folks bought in to this whole immigration stance that Trump had already said he was going to be doing. Black Americans ain't got nothing to worry about when it comes to that, period. And this 92% is trying everything they can to get you wrapped up and all hyped up about it. That's them. That's their problem. It ain't my problem. That's them. They got to worry about that. My son, he showed me the other day, it's a whole group of Hispanic men that are claiming to be Native Americans. They said, nah, we ain't buying it. You out of there. Okay, no, no, chief, you gone because you don't belong here. No, it ain't no mistake. We got the paperwork. You down in Venezuela. Be a big Indian down there. Be a big Native American down there. Build all the TPs and all that stuff you want. You can do that down here, but you can't do it here. Don't like it? I mean, that's just what it is. But for these old Negroes to try to scare you into, you got to carry your freedom papers around because they going to come and they going to get you. No. They are literally right on the rooftop and they just looking down and they trying to yell down and scare you. Just tell them to just keep on looking, all right, and live your life. How about that? All right, live your life. But anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at, so here's the thing. Oh, let me make sure you guys are aware too of this. We have our blog here. I just restarted that. Our Journeyman and Woman blog, which is right here. And these are other posts that I write that, or different things that I may post that I don't post on the community page. And here's some things here that you can check out on your own time. I try to, as I remember, I will post some of the music that we play. I will post links here so that you can listen to it on your own time here. The latest one I did was leading you back to your masters, the Igbo backdoor for Black Americans. And we got individuals out here that are once again bringing up this whole notion that, that Black folks, we belong, Black Americans, our true identity and who we are goes through the tribe of the Igbo and all of that. And we're the Igbo people and all this other stuff. And all we do is we spend a few minutes showing you who the Igbo say they are. And the Igbo will tell you firsthand that genetically they are tied directly to the Ashkenazis, the very people that these Negroes would tell you that are fake. They're the fake ones. But the Igbo think they say, no, that's our brothers. We're one and the same. And I show you how the Igbo get trained by the Ashkenazis. We also talk about in this post about the, commandment keepers. That's another branch of Hebrew Israelites, and how this branch from day one, we went into the history. We talked about how were financed by Jews in Harlem and in New York, and how they work together, and build things together and all this other stuff. I mean, the receipts are here. And so the question that I'm raising in this thing is, why on earth would you and we show you who acknowledged that they were slave owners. Just from the Jewish Encyclopedia, it says it right here. In fact, cotton plantations in many parts of the South were wholly in the hands of the Jews, and as a consequence, slavery found its advocates among them. Why on earth would you want to practice what your slave masters, what they believed in? Why would you want to do that? Well, they stole it from us. Anyway, that's a never-ending cycle right there, so I'm not going to get into it. But check out this post when you get a chance, okay? That's on our blog that has been reintroduced again. This is Somber Tree. It's actually journeymanandwoman.com. All right. Let's see. Let's go to what we're going to talk about here. We're going to the Pew Research sheet. All right. A lot of these individuals, one thing you got to understand is that many of these individuals that are afraid, there's a couple of branches here. I'm going to try to hit both of them. They are afraid that Trump, oh my goodness, he's getting rid of all Black employees now. All over the nation, Black people are going to be ripped from their seats in corporate America, and they're going to be thrown down in the streets. And oh my goodness, they are not going to have jobs anymore. All Black people are not going to have jobs anymore. They're going after Black people. This is a bunch of BS of the highest form. There's nothing at all that says that is going to happen. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Okay? If you are doing your job like many Black folks are, and you are good at your job, like most Black folks are, then nobody in their right mind is going to one day say, we got to get rid of these niggas. Let's get rid of them now. Finally, I could use your cubicle to put some plants there, and I can put some food there and all that stuff. Ain't nobody doing that. Anybody that's saying that has no freaking clue on how business works. None, literally none. They don't. Nobody's doing that. Oh, I got my window open. I'm letting all the, okay, hold on. Yeah, these folk, man, they hear everything. Anyway, they ain't got no clue. None. Absolutely no clue. Nobody's doing that. Okay? But we're going to get into this whole thing. And so you have, now, what Trump is doing, what he's calling with his whole Doge department or whatever of government waste and all of that, what they're doing is they're going after, they telling these federal employees, they're saying, listen, we are giving you to February the 6th. Right now, it's set up to where y'all can work from home. But right now, we're not doing that anymore. You have to report in. You have to come in. And I'm sorry, this is something that has been going on in the civilian space for a very long time, since after the COVID stuff. Because you remember the COVID thing, everybody was pretty much able to work at home. But after a while, the businesses were saying, nah, you're going to have to come in. Remember that? And so it was a very hard adjustment that a lot of people had to make. But if you wanted your job, honey, you had to come on in. You got to come on back in the room. You know what I'm saying? If you wanted your job. And, like I said, again, there was some little bit of pushback on it. But people at the end of the day said, well, wait a minute. Why my lights ain't working? Oh, yeah, let me go back in the office. And that's what people were doing, going back in the office. Okay, that's just what it is. But the federal workers, I know for some of y'all who may be employees of the federal government, all of this I'm going to be saying here, it's going to sound like I hate federal employees. I don't. But I do want to give you a dose of reality. And I want to correct some things of people out here trying to make it seem as if they are specifically targeting black people. And that is not what's happening at all. They are calling for all federal employees to come back. And here's the thing. You know what they're telling them? They're saying because they're saying, listen, we're trying to trim the fat because there's a whole lot of fat in the federal government. So what we're doing is that if you respond to this email, all you got to do is say resign. That we will go ahead and put you on the track to get you to kind of phase out by September. So between now and September, you still going to get paid. You still going to get paid between now and September. That's a pretty freaking good plan. I would take that. You still going to get paid your salary between now and September? That's most of the year. So just imagine if you took a buyout, you getting paid your salary between now and September. That means, let's say I took the buyout February. Let's say that by the end of February, let's just say you find another job. Then what? Now you're getting 2 salaries. What you mad about? You understand what I'm saying? What you mad about? You can get 2 salaries, but here's the thing. One of the things they called out, they were talking about how you have federal employees who are working at home. Well, they're already doing that. That's one of the reasons why they're telling people you got to come in the office, because you got people who are right now double dipping. You got people right now double dipping. They're working from home, but they're also working another job as well. Well, you can't do that. Now, I'm going to look at the details of that as far as like you getting paid your full salary. Does that, when you say resign, does that resignation go into effect immediately, or is it you work until September or whatever? But from what I understand is that you get your salary between now and September. Is there any stipulations as far as you can't work or whatever? Those things I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, they're telling you that you will get your salary between now and September. That's a pretty freaking good plan. I would jump on that immediately. In fact, it was one of the videos I was looking at. You had, it was a guy who was a former federal worker. He was like, y'all stupid. He said, I would definitely jump on that without question. Because once you realize what's out here, a lot of people in the non-federal space or in the civilian space, when they fire you, they get rid of you. I'll give you a case in point. My daughter, she had to, she's at her job, right, doing her thing. And, you know, the boss, they just casually showed a video, and it was like, oh, man, check out this AI stuff. Oh, man, it could do this. It could really help our business and all that. He said, but don't you worry. You guys are straight. Nobody's going to use this to replace you. Oh, about a couple of months later, my daughter now is looking for a job. I mean, they were just like, okay, oh, yeah, and your final check, we've already sent that to you, so you're good. But federal employees, as you see, they got a lot more protections here. Okay? And so anyway, let me take you to a couple of things here that I want you to look at. And I highlighted, fortunately, I highlighted some things in this. This is from Pew Research, and I want you to take a look at this. This says what the data says about federal workers. Again, it's going to, like I said, for some people, all it is, you hear until you get offended. And so for those of you, all I simply ask is don't even bother commenting, okay? We're just looking at the numbers like grown folks here, okay? And so anyway, how many federal workers are there? Okay, so that depends on who you're counting. In November 2024, the federal government employed just over 3 million people, or 1.87% of the entire civilian workforce, according to the BLS data. And they said it doesn't, that figure doesn't count the roughly 1.3 million active duty military personnel. And they go on to say that military isn't necessary. They're not considered employees. Okay, here we go. Set aside the Postal Service and you have a bit more than 2.4 million federal workers. That makes the federal government the nation's single largest employer, with even more workers than Walmart, Amazon, or McDonald's. In fact, the Postal Service by itself would, if it were a private business, rank among the 10 largest private sector employers, ahead of industry rivals UPS and FedEx. All right, let me scroll down here. All right, which federal departments and agencies employ the most people? The Department of Veterans Affairs employs more than 486,000 people, giving it by far the largest payroll of the 18 cabinet level departments, noting that OPM counts the Army, Navy, Air Force departments separately. Most of these employees work for the Veterans Health Administration, which operates the VA's extensive networks of hospitals, clinics, and nursing homes. The smallest cabinet level department with 4,245 workers is the Department of Education. Trump, like many previous Republican presidents, have proposed abolishing the department entirely. Among independent agencies, the largest employer is the Social Security Administration, with more than 59,000 workers. That's more than the combined total of 5 cabinet level departments: education, energy, labor, state, and housing and urban development. So this is an image here that kind of gives you, in graph form, just how big which of each department is. You can kind of look at it this way here. So as you can see, the Department of Veterans Affairs, the VA, they got a ton of folk. And then it goes down to Department of Homeland Security. And then they even included the, branches of government, the department, not necessarily the soldiers, but the departments, Department of Justice, so forth and so on. Okay. So, yeah, it's a lot of people. It's a big government, so it's going to require a lot of people. So its size is, nobody's really criticizing the size. However, how they do things. Many of us know the many, many years of the VA office and the amount of criticisms that they have received and how they treat veterans in this country. You got all them folk packed up in the Department of Veterans Affairs, but they still have some of the highest complaint rates. That means there's a lot of people that don't need to be working there, right? Department of Homeland Security, so forth and so on, right? All right, so this map here, this shows where federal workers have the largest presence. DC, Maryland, and Virginia. All right. They have the largest presence in this area here. Of course, they're not necessarily just there. They're also all over the country as well. California is fairly large here as well, followed by Texas, Georgia, Florida. These are some places that got pretty large presence here. But DC, Maryland, and Virginia by far have the largest presence. Okay, now let's get into some more details here. How do federal workers compare demographically with American workers as a whole? The federal workforce is slightly more male, 53.8% versus 52.8% for all civilian workers. It also skews somewhat older. Now, this is something that I want you to I want you to really pay attention to this. All right. It also skews somewhat older. 28.1% of all federal workers ages 55 and older, compared with 23.6% of the overall workforce. Fewer than 9% of federal employees are younger than 30, compared with 22.7% of all workers. Now, this is a very important statistic here, because people that are 55 and older, and many of you know, you're going to the post office, or you're going to whatever it is, Social Security office or whatever. Most of the people that are working there are in that age bracket. And most of those people in that age bracket oftentimes come from a time where once you work for, all you have to do, if you were fortunate enough to get a job with the government, then chances are you were in, you're good. You're gonna be there for until you die almost. All right, you're gonna be there till whatever long, when you retire, you already got it planned out. You're gonna get your Cadillac, if you those who born during my time. That was the retirement. That was the ultimate black man retirement gift, getting you a Cadillac, getting you a whole caddy. I don't hear anybody talking about Cadillacs now, but you black from a different from a certain time period when your goal is to get a caddy. But that was the thing. And so you work all those years at the post office, Social Security office, what have you, whatever. That was the thing. You get with a job and you work there forever, 30 years, 40 years plus. I was on the tail end of those generations. My first business, the first company I worked with was it was called Belcor. They were formulated after the divestiture of the Bell companies. Now I'm dating myself. The Bell companies, there was a time, younger whippersnappers out there, we only had one phone company. How many of y'all remember that? How many of y'all remember we only had one phone company in the United States? Only one. I mean, give or take, if you were in a smaller town or something, they may have some little offshoot stuff. But there was a time we only had one phone company. That was the Bell phone company. Belltel, depending on who you're talking to. And they have different regions or whatever, right? And when I got hired, my whole department was made up of some old Jews. Most of them were all Jews from New York or New Jersey. And I was in the engineering department. And these folks were it was very common to go to retirement parties and celebrations. And they're like, come and Stan Katz, we were celebrating his 45th service anniversary. Never missed a day and all of this stuff. I mean, I'm talking dudes. Their vacation days, it would be like a month and a half that they would have stored up. I mean, they've been with the company forever. You know what I'm saying? And so people in that age bracket, that's what they're used to. They're used to getting with the company, getting with an employer, and you just stay there forever. I remember when I worked for, and then fast forward, I worked as a contractor for the CDC down in Atlanta. It was the same thing. I couldn't stand it, and I couldn't wait to get out of there. The attitudes, it was just pretty much like, I don't have to do anything. I'm just going to be here till 5 o'clock and I'm going to get out of here. You think all these, now there's scientists in the CDC, I'm talking about when I was there. I mean, they legitimately doing some work, but not all of them, honey. Listen, they be up in there clock watching. I'm serious. If you would have walked through there, you would be shocked, because it ain't like what you see on TV. You think they on there like, okay, now, scientists, let's get together now. Let's put together these molecules and all that. Nah, it's just like working. Sometimes it's just like working at a call center. Some of these places, I'm like, what? Y'all thinking like this? Hold on. And all the drama and all that other stuff, be getting mad at each other. And, well, you ordered that computer. Well, I'm going to order one too, just out of spite. It just be, I'm telling you, it's stuff like that, right? So anyway, what I'm saying is that the mindset of a lot of this generation is that by working for the federal government, you are entitled to be there forever. Okay, you're entitled to be there forever. and you're always going to have employment. But see, what's happening is when Trump coming into the House, he's saying, no more. And we're going to talk about just a moment what Elon Musk brings. Okay. Again, I'm no fans of either one of them. But this what they're doing is bringing reality to federal workers. The reality that many people who are not in the federal space have been dealing with for a very long time. Okay, there is no, ask anybody that works outside of the federal space, they will tell you, you may have a job today, but they'll fire you in a moment by email or text. You understand what I'm saying? And so a lot of this that you're hearing from people who are like, oh, we're going to protect our jobs, we're going to hold our line. A lot of these people are coming from a vantage point. And I'm saying this with kindness and just being real at the same time. It's more of an entitlement mindset because you think that you straight, you know what I mean? You think that you're supposed to have a job until for another 30 years or 40 years, but that's not how the real world operates today. It doesn't operate like that. So if you notice, take notice of the people out here that are yelling and complaining. They usually fall in that age bracket. Okay. I know I spent some time on that, but I wanted to make sure you understood. Okay. Now let's move to the next paragraph. Racially and ethnically, the federal workforce largely mirrors the overall civilian workforce with two notable exceptions. A bigger share of federal workers are Black, 18.6% versus 12%. And a smaller share are Hispanic or Latino, 10% versus 19.5%. So Black folks make up a significant amount of federal workers. And where are a lot of those Black federal workers? They're right here in this area here. If you want to know where the wealth of Black America is centered, we've actually looked at this in another video. The heaviest concentration of Black American wealth is right in this area. And what is Black American wealth centered on? The federal government. Not entrepreneurship, the federal government. And it was a danger for that generation to take on this mindset that the government is going to take care of me and I'm going to have this job for 30 years, 40 years, or 50 years. That was a very poor decision that a lot of these Black folks made. And now they're getting their wake-up call. This has absolutely nothing to do with racism. It's about the changing of times that we're in right now and what technology is doing. The people who want to pivot and want to make and try to keep your eyes on the racism argument are people that's all they know. That they're coming from a whole different time. That's all they know to pivot to. It's racism. They hate Black folks. Okay. And when I talk about Elon Musk real quick, you're going to see it's going to underscore all of this. Okay. What I'm saying. All right. As a whole, federal workers are more educated than the overall civilian workforce. That's a good point. Nearly a third of federal workers, 31.5%, have a bachelor's degree compared to 27.7% of all employed Americans. And almost 22% of federal workers have an advanced degree versus 17.6% of all workers. And if I had to guess, that's probably going to be concentrated in areas like, NASA, the Justice Department, in those areas like that, you're probably going to see a lot of that. Okay. Anyway, the most highly educated federal agency among those with at least 1,000 employees isn't NASA or the National Science Foundation, but it's the U.S. Agency for International Development. Now, what the heck who are they? 2/3 of its 4,675 workers hold a master's degree, doctorate, or other advanced degrees. All right. What kind of work do federal employees do? Nearly 364,000 federal employees, or 16% of federal workforce, are in health-related fields, the single largest occupational category. By contrast, 134,239 federal workers, or 5.9%, are classified as lawyers or in law-related jobs. Okay. And so here's the breakdown again for those that just the numbers drive you nuts. You just want to see it in graphical form. Here it is: medical, hospital, dental, and public health. Well, yeah, if you have a medical background, you come out of that fine. You gonna do well regardless of where you're going. So this gives us an idea of how that spreads out, these federal workers here, okay? All right, how much do federal workers earn? The average annual pay across the entire federal workforce is $106,382, according to the OPM, reflecting the skew towards white-collar jobs held by highly educated people. Half of all federal workers make between $50,000 and $109,000, or just say $110,000 a year. Relatively few, 3%, make $200,000 or more, while 8% make less than $50,000. So federal workers are doing quite well. And this is one of the main reasons why you see a lot of our people, they know once you get hooked up in the federal government, you can do quite well because, that tax money, man, shoot, it's a bottomless pit, and they can come up with any program and get money for it. But if you are working for in the private sector, it doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? More than half of federal workers, 1.18 million or 51.8%, have worked for the government in any civilian capacity for less than 10 years. According to our analysis of the OPM data, the average tenure across the entire workforce is 11.8 years, but this too varies considerably from agency to agency. Now check this one out. This was interesting. The highest average length of service among agencies with at least 100 employees is at the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. Isn't that really interesting? In Washington, D.C. The museum, which opened in 1993, has 117 employees with an average tenure of 21.8 years. So Jews are going to take care of their people. They're going to take care of them. AmeriCorps, the domestic volunteerism agency formerly known as the Corporation for National and Community Service, has the shortest average length of service among major agencies. Its 785 workers have an average tenure of 7.5 years. For comparison, the median job tenure for all U.S. wage and salary workers is 3.9 years. That's a huge difference. All right, let's move on. Do all federal workers have civil service protections? This is another one worth paying attention to. Most, but not all, have these protections, which shield workers against being disciplined or fired except for just cause. Civil service protections also create specific procedures that agency employees must follow before following or disciplining employees. Now, if anybody that has any experience working with or being a federal employee, it's not easy to fire a federal employee. You don't just walk in one day and say you fired, that's it. There is literally a whole line of things that you have to go through, a lot of red tape that you have to go through before firing somebody. A lot of times these departments, instead of just firing you, they'll just shuffle you to a different department. That's how you keep a lot of these employees circulating within the halls of government. A lot of times they should be fired, but in reality, they just get pushed to another department. Again, those of us in the private sector, it's not like that. If they want to fire you behind, you out of there, period. You understand what I'm saying? So they have certain protections built in. About 2/3 of federal workers, 1.5 million or 67.3%, are in what's called the competitive service, meaning that job applicants compete for positions and are evaluated based on objective criteria such as written exams. Once they pass a probationary period, employees in the competitive service can't be fired, suspended, demoted, or subjected to other adverse actions without cause. They also have the right to written notice of such adverse actions and can respond or to appeal them. Again, these are things that employees outside of federal space, they don't have access to this kind of stuff. They don't have these protections. Okay, and then this is the final part. Is this the final part? Okay, I told y'all we're going to be doing a little bit of reading here. Late in Trump's first term, he issued an executive order that would have allowed agencies to move certain career employees, those whose jobs were determined to be of a confidential policy determining, policy making, or policy advocating character, into a new category of the accepted service, which would have made them easier to hire, discipline, or fire outside the usual civil service rules. Estimates were that tens of thousands of career employees could have been reclassified under the plan. President Joe Biden revoked Trump's order upon taking office, and earlier this year, his administration adopted a new rule aimed at protecting career employees from being moved involuntarily to a classification with fewer job protections. However, Trump has said he would reissue the order in his second term. So again, it just shows you, the amount of protections that these federal employees have that regular employees don't have. And the reason why I wanted to take the time to read that, and we're going to get to the FAA, and thank you to the sister who sent me this other document. The reason why I wanted to go through that is when you're hearing a lot of these people that are screaming and hollering about we got to protect the federal workers and all of that, I want you to have some perspective and a little bit of understanding of what these people are actually screaming about. And what they're not realizing is the fact that their job situation, it doesn't match the trends that are already out here. And let me see what I wanted to let me show you this FAA document here. Okay, we're not going to read the whole thing here. Okay, now Trump, he had mentioned, you heard him talking about so much for my whole hour goal there. One day I'll hit it. But what I will do is I will bookmark stuff for y'all, so make it easy for you to come back and you can get to certain sections of the broadcast. Okay, so someone sent this to me. This is the FAA. We heard Trump. Now, Trump had, people were saying that Trump, he was out here immediately blaming DEI for the crash. That's partially true. In actuality, what happened was immediately after the crash happened, you had people like Bakari Sellers and other people within the media. Immediately, their first reaction was to blame Trump for the crash. And then Bakari, to his credit, he realized how dumb of a mistake that really was. And he rescinded that. And he said, I shouldn't have said that. That was wrong. That's it. And then, but you had other people echoing his same sentiment. There's a congresswoman, a state senator, or a state congresswoman, whatever, politician in California, a black woman, who also was saying the same things. This was prior to Trump saying anything, and was blaming Trump for the crash. So by the time Trump took to the mic and was talking about this, that's when, immediately the conversation goes to, they were asking him about DEI. Do they believe that does he believe that DEI has anything to do with it or whatever? And what he said, he read some of the text of the existing DEI policies for the FAA. And if you read through it, some of the things they're saying is that they want to focus more on obtaining people who have certain disabilities, including, people who got mental issues and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. But this is the goal and focus. And I'm going to give you an example what he was talking about. But that was Trump on that. And then, what was it? Oh, okay. So let me go to, just so I can show you this, because again, black folks who are out here trying to say that he was directly, even with that, he was going after black folks. Well, that's not true either. Here, what you're looking at right now is directly from the Human Resources Management Department of the FAA. All right. And this is their minority serving institutions demographic data analysis. All right. And this was put out in July of 2023. Again, we're not going to read all of it, but basically this does a whole breakdown of what their set goals were. And it talks about who benefited the most from their whole DEI kind of situation. All right. Well, let's take a look here. Completion, let's see, summer 2021 MSI composition compared with civilian labor force. Okay, so they're showing you right now the white people were at 77%. That's the civilian labor force versus the selectees of MSI program. All right. So white people, by and large, black and Hispanic, you can see black people, they're benefiting as well. Big, right there. Let's move on. Class of 2021 by gender. The summer 2021 applicants. You can see here these are the applicants. It's a majority women that applied versus male, but at the end, I'm sorry, the majority female. Did I say that? Majority female over male. And then the selectees, or people that were selected, it was a majority female that actually got in. All right, so they targeted that. Okay, so summer 2022 composition compared with civilian labor force, same thing. Once again, we're seeing that white people made up 42.7% of those that that benefited from this. And then I'm just scrolling down, white demographic breakdown. They're doing male versus female, Hispanic, or white breakdown by ethnicity, gender, Hispanic or Latino, Hispanic or Latino male, non-Hispanic, Latino female, non-Hispanic, Latino or Latino male. White people, again, are benefiting the most from this. And it goes on. It goes on. Now, they did, like, if you look through here, they did make an effort to go after, and I have a video, I probably won't, like I said, just to kind of keep this short and to the point, where the FAA did in fact intentionally go after HBCUs to try to get more black applicants to come in or whatever. But as you're seeing, that white people really did benefit the greater amount on it. So again, people out here that are trying to make this argument that somehow black folks, are the face, are the whole complement of DEI policies, that's not true at all. It's really white people, particularly white people that have disabilities. They use, as I've always said, black people are oftentimes used as the face of DEI policies, but we are not the main benefactors of DEI policies. We're not. And the numbers speak for themselves. So like I said, a lot of these people out here, they're screaming and hollering, trying to say that, oh my God, they're taking our rights away. What they're trying to do is trick you into pushing for extra protections of disabled white people above you. I don't get it, but you got Negroes that fall for that all the time. But anyway, now let's switch here and let's take a look at a couple of videos that I want to share with you real quick here. This is a congresswoman. This was a congresswoman. I want you to hear what she's saying here and how she's spending this. It's just, like I said, just how these people, how they spin stuff to get people all in their emotions. Let me get this up here on the screen and let's take a listen here. I'm gonna try to play as much as I can, but it's hard for me. It's hard for me to y'all to stomach some of this stuff for real. But let me get to this right here. Let me see. Here we go. That right here. There we go. All right. Let's take a listen at this video. I'm gonna really try to play as much as I can on this, y'all, but it's gonna be difficult. So let's take a listen here. All right.
Let me thank the leader. His leadership has been tremendous in Washington, D.C., and certainly right here in Brooklyn. Good morning and greetings to everyone. I'm Congresswoman Yvette D. Clarke, and I'm chairwoman of the Congressional Black Caucus and proud representative of New York's 9th Congressional District right here in Central and Southwest Brooklyn. Let me thank the leader once again for convening today's press conference, and thank you to everyone who has come out, our advocates, and joined us in this solemn moment in our nation. As the leader stated, the mid-air collision involving American Airlines Flight 5342 and an Army helicopter is devastating beyond words. I'm extraordinarily grateful to the first responders who are doing everything they can to help under extremely difficult circumstances. And as we continue to receive updates and uncover
Okay, this
precisely
is a
why
slow wind up
this terrible accident. And while we do that, while we wait for the absolute truth of the matter, it is with great and righteous indignation that I recognize the comments and actions of one individual in particular who did not attempt whatsoever to wait for those facts. The individual who, rather than emphasize with the families of the 67 victims of his heartbreaking disaster, attempt to unify a grieving country, or even offer his prayers, chose to capitalize on this tragedy by furthering his racist, insane agenda against America's diverse employees. Our repugnant president, Donald Trump, chose to address a nation in mourning with only fiction and white supremacist ideologies yesterday. He spun that fiction for one reason, and one reason alone, and that is to further his administration's purge of America's minority employees.
You see where this is going? So while she's accusing Trump of using that moment of racism and all this, you further his racism and all that, you're doing the same thing. You're literally using the same tragedy, and you're trying to, and somehow this gets pivoted to why we got to protect our employees, our black employees, and all this other stuff. So no, that you're doing the same thing. Politicians do this all the time. Black, white, Asian, whatever. It doesn't matter. They do the same thing. I told you, I cannot listen to these people. I cannot. It's hard. But this is, but you can kind of imagine the trajectory she's going to go on this, and just go on and on and on. And here's another one. This is Ayanna Pressley, and she said this back in 2020. This was 2020 during what was it? Oh man, it was during the it was the post office. Trump was at that time, he was proposing trimming down the post office, the amount of employees that are in the post office. And this is what Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, this is what she had to say on that. There needs to be an unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives. This is the kind of stuff that these women are pushing out here to get people locked and stayed in their emotions and all this other nonsense, but it does not address the main central issues. And that is that how our government is too fat. It is. There's just way too much fat. There's too much protectionism that's taking place right now. Now, let me just mention briefly, because I promised that I would mention it. Elon Musk. Again, I'm not defending him. I'm not a fan of his. So please don't go there with that. Okay. But Elon Musk, many of you, or at least some of you, remember when he bought Twitter, what was one of the first things he did? One of the first things that Elon Musk did is that he fired a large percentage of the employees, a large percentage. He came in, he said, we don't need all these employees. All these different little departments and sub-departments and departments of the departments and all that. He said, we don't need all that. Cut them. We'll give you a package and hit the road jack. And he did that. Last I checked, Twitter is still running fine. He changed the name of it. He said, I'll prove and show you that we can still run this thing with a smaller amount of a workforce. Now, the reason why people are among other, I mean, like I said, they try to bring up, he did the Hail Hitler thing and all of that. And that becomes this whole sideshow nonsense that people get distracted about or whatever. Again, I'm no fan of this person. I like looking at the data. I like looking at the track record of people. What the real issue is the fact that people saw what he did with Twitter and how when he came to Twitter, he cut all them folks down. He cut them all off and said, I can show you that this company can run without all these people. Now you got him walking alongside with Trump and saying that we're going to look at, and Trump is saying, what you did with Twitter, I want you to do here as well. Because there's just far too many folks that we got working in this government here that we need to trim down. We got to trim down this stuff. And that's exactly what's happening. And it's not just happening. And it the federal workers, they act like, oh my God, it's the sky is falling. Meanwhile, those of us in the private sector, we're like, we've been handling this for years and we've been fine. Black people, white people, Hispanic people, or whatever. We don't have those protections that you have. And the amount of money, if he was to do that, to chop all that down to what they're saying that they're going to chop it down to, the amount of money that this government could save, it could be, they're talking billions and billions and billions of dollars. Now, again, that's the talk that's coming out of there. Of course, you and I know, I don't have to believe the government on anything at all. But from a business standpoint, it does make a lot of sense. It does. It makes a lot of sense that, a lot of people are just going to have to go. They're going to have to go. You can't, if your job, if your employer is saying that you need to come back into the office, you better do it. You're not your entitlement. You don't have that entitlement. We don't have that entitlement out here, and you don't have it either. Not on the government's dime, you don't. All you have to do is spend some time on YouTube. Go on YouTube. You're on YouTube right now. Do a search for how many people have lost their jobs after getting hours and hours and hours of training, of schooling and all of that stuff. And then they lose their jobs because the company's like, you know what? AI is taking over this. If they really cut AI loose, our government will be trimmed down tremendously. They would. There's a lot of jobs right now. There's a lot of employers right now that are doing this. The only place where we're not really seeing AI really launch off is in the government itself. And make no mistake about it, they are about to do it. And when they do it, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. It's just what it is. That's the technology. That's where we're in right now. Now, let me just move on to this very briefly here. Now, there is, this is another argument that I would like to make when it comes to, and this is a similar argument I had many years when it came to affirmative action, but I had the same argument when it applies to DEI, and that is this. I do understand, I'm not a dummy, I do understand that there are employers out there that will not hire you because of the color of your skin, the religion that you practice, whatever. That's a fact. That is true. It's true as water is wet. So nobody is not saying that doesn't happen. It does. Okay. However, that is not the majority experience that most black people in this country do experience. All right. One of the things that I have witnessed myself is seeing people being put in positions that they're simply not qualified for. And it's a very embarrassing situation to be placed in because you realize that you were only put there because of the color of your skin, not because you were qualified for it. Now, this next gentleman that I'm going to talk to you about very briefly, he is currently the CEO of the Denver International Airport. All right, this is him right here. His name is Phil Washington. So very accomplished individual here. All right, that's him right here. I'm about to show a short clip of him. And, education wise and all that. And this is all what he's done here. His career, it ranges from the regional transportation district, intern, chief, it doesn't say where, but it says regional transportation district, Los Angeles Metro. He's the CEO of the MTA in LA. And then in 2021, he was nominated to become the CEO of the Denver International Airport. So his experience, very impressive. he has a management experience, management background, management of transportation departments. But if you notice, the transportation departments that he manages are mainly like train, might be highway. I didn't see highway on there, but I'm just kind of throwing that in there. Now, in 2022, Biden, who was really pushing the DEI stuff, basically nominated him to be the head of the FAA. All right. I want you to take a look and listen. Now, he didn't become the head of the FAA. He didn't become that. In fact, he pulled out of that. But I want you to see, this is the type of DEI stuff that people are talking about. All right. And how embarrassing it really is. Let me pull this up here. All right, so let's take a listen here. This is him at the hearing. Again, he did not become the head of the FAA, but Biden selected him to become that. And Biden put him in this position.
So, Mr. Washington, can you quickly tell me what airspace requires an ADS-B transponder?
Not sure I can answer that question right now.
That's okay. We'll just keep going. So that's a pretty important part. So what are the 6 types of special use airspace that protect this national security that appear on FAA charts?
Sorry, Senator, I cannot answer that question.
Okay. So what are the operational limitations of a pilot flying under basic med?
Senator, I'm not a pilot, so.
But obviously you'd oversee the Federal Aviation Administration. So any idea what those restrictions are under basic med, quickly?
Well, some of the restrictions I think would be high blood pressure. Some of them would be.
It's more like how many passengers per airplane, how many pounds in different categories, and what altitude you can fly under. So, and then amount of knots. It's under 250 knots. So it's not have anything to do with blood pressure. So can you tell me what causes an aircraft to spin or to stall?
Again, Senator, I'm not a pilot.
Okay, let's keep going. What are the 3 aircraft certifications the FAA requires as part of the manufacturing process? Quickly, please. 3 aircraft certifications.
Again, what I would say to that is that one of my first priorities would be to fully implement that Certification Act and report.
You know the 3 types, Mr. Washington? The 3 types? Okay. Yeah, that's type certificate, production certificate, and airworthiness certificate. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. Let's just keep going, see if we can get lucky here. So can you tell me what the minimum separation distance is for landing and departing airliners during the daytime, Mr. Washington?
I don't want to guess on that, Senator.
Are you familiar with the difference between Part 107 and Part 44809 when it comes to unmanned aerial standards? Unmanned, like drones, are you familiar with the difference?
Yes.
Okay, you know the difference between those 2, Part 44809 and Part 107? Do you know the difference there?
No, I cannot.
That's okay.
Spell that out.
So, Mr. Washington.
Now, I'm showing that because, again, this is what people are complaining about. And what people are missing with this whole DEI stuff is that in many cases, it puts people in positions like this where we end up looking embarrassed. Do you understand? Where that individual, when I say we, let me be clear, that man represents him. He doesn't represent the entire black race. He represents himself. Do you understand what I'm saying? But there are people that will look at him and say, see, he represents all black people and all black. No, he represents himself, right? There are many other black folks out here that are fully qualified and could answer those questions very easily, but he represents himself. But to create a program that would put people who are clearly not just prepared, but qualified to handle that kind of situation, it's very embarrassing. It really is embarrassing. I wouldn't want to be put in a position like that. But you have people out here today that are championing these types of programs to try to get more of that. They think that putting this in those spaces automatically equals expertise, and it doesn't. It doesn't. You understand what I'm saying? it doesn't. At the end of the day, you got to be prepared regardless of who you are. You know, so I know some people would watch that and automatically you want to pivot to this, that, or whatever and say, no. I'm saying in this particular case here, as we're talking about this whole DEI thing, these are real instances that happen quite often. It could have been a white person. It could have been an LGBT person. It could have been anybody. But putting people in positions simply because they tick a certain box, that is not the way to run a profitable business or a safe one at that. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that is the point that I'm making with all of that. So you can have your disagreements with that all you want, but it's at the end of the day, that's what it is. And people who want those kind of policies show just how ignorant they are when it comes to real life, how to run a profitable, safe, and effective business. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I got someone here. I know I don't know what you're talking about as far as Elon Musk and disagreeing with them or whatever. I don't care. I really don't. Like I said, again, I take myself out of that. I'm just simply looking at what this person has done. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking at this as a business person. You understand what I'm saying? I don't get involved in the personalities and South Africa and all that other stuff. I don't give two craps about that. I'm showing you the trends of what's happening in business world today, and these federal employees, they better get a clue, because in a moment it's already knocking on their doors right now, and they need to know that the adjustments are coming, like it or not. If not under this president, it will happen under a different president, because I'm telling you right now, this AI technology is literally changing every day, and more businesses are adapting to it very quickly. And there are going to be a lot more people that are losing their jobs because they refuse to adjust. And so anyway, yeah, that dude that I want to stress that Mr. Washington, he's still the CEO of the Denver International Airport. But he made the decision to step down, and I'm glad he did. I mean, based off of that, he wasn't going to get far with that. All right. But anyway, let's move on. I think we kind of beat this thing to the ground, but I really wanted to give you a lot of information to really to look at when you hear people pressing this, because I want you to understand the perspectives that these people are coming from. A lot of these people do have a dog in the fight. When they're pressing this whole DEI thing. And as I've said in many videos before, DEI it only has a black face. The people who really benefit from it are not black folks. So we should not be out here pressed and trying to defend that program, because it is not designed for us. It is not designed for us. And the people that are typically defending this and the loudest voices are the 92% people. And you know what I'm talking about. All right. So let's go ahead and move on. We got two more things quickly to discuss here, and then we're going to call it the day. Okay. And like I said, again, I will do my utmost to bookmark this stuff here so that y'all can, if you want to come back and watch this video, you'll be able to see what you need to see, get to the section of the video. All right. Biden. Speaking of Biden, resolution of membership, President Joseph R. Biden Jr. It is with great pleasure that I, Victor C. Major, 27th of the most worshipful Grand Master, welcome our newest member to the Prince Hall family. On Sunday, January the 19th, 2025, at a private event, Master Mason membership with full honors was conferred upon President Joseph R. Biden Jr. in recognition of his outstanding service to the United States of America. Oh, God. So this is the private circle. This is the inner circle of black folks. And they immediately rushed to make him a Grand Master. A Master Mason. Resolution of membership. To be a Freemason is to be a part of a brotherhood dedicated to personal growth, service, and others, blah, blah, blah. All right. Whereas President Joseph R. Biden Jr. has demonstrated exceptional dedication and service to the United States of America. Whereas his service reflects the core values of the most worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of free and accepted Masons of the state of South Carolina, including brotherly love, relief, and truth. Whereas President Joseph R. Biden Jr. contributions have significantly benefited the citizens of the United States, like the crime bill. Yeah. Anyway, therefore, be it resolved that I, 27th most worshipful Grand Master, ain't that something to call yourself the most worshipful, Grand Master Victor C. Major, on behalf of the members of the most worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of free and accepted Masons of the state of South Carolina, hereby confer membership upon President Joseph R. Biden Jr. in recognition of his outstanding service of the United States of America. Be it further resolved that this resolution of membership be recorded in the archives of the most worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of free and accepted Masons of the state of South Carolina, given his 19th day of January, AD 2025. So they have made him Master Mason. He ain't Master Mason. He a Master Mason. It don't take much for black folk to do it. It don't take much. They just throwing the keys to whatever secrets that they're holding that benefit black folk. They just said, take them. Just take them. Please take them, Master. But again, do you see this group right here? This is the demographic. This is the demographic that was out here telling you to vote for that man, telling you who to vote for. This is the demographic that told you, that gave you medical advice a few years back. This is the demographic whose mouth is completely shut right now of the results of that medical advice that they gave. This is the demographic that's out here preaching in a lot of your churches, and y'all and some of y'all still listen to these folks. Still. I don't even know what to say at this point. They literally just threw him keys. Literally just threw him some keys. And just said, take it, Master Mason. This is who's driving these conversations out here, y'all. This is who's out here driving these conversations, church gossip stuff. You got these gay, half gay acting men out here driving these church gossip channels, getting you all up in your gossiping. And what did TD Jake say? Did he bend down? Did he go here? And all this other stuff. A lot of these people are part of that organization. Well, you better make sure you vote for this person or that person or whatever. You better make sure you listen to, vote the Democrats or vote for this way because this, not that I'm a Republican before anybody goes there, because I'm not. Okay. But you better make sure you vote this way because they're racist and we got to make sure we do the same thing we've been doing for 400 years. We got to keep on doing it. And many of y'all still listen to these Negroes, these old, dusty Negroes that should have been out of here a long time ago. Well, they saying that we got to take the and we better go on out there. Y'all better do it. Now, honey, you better hush your mouth. You better listen to them. Hush your mouth. Hush your mouth. You better go and take that thing. Hush your mouth. You better go and listen to these folks. You know what they know more than you. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you is? You think you can read? You think you a doctor or something like that? You don't know nothing. They know everything. You better hush your mouth. You talking about reading? You don't know what you talking about, boy. You talking about reading, you talking about you reading medical papers and all that. You don't know what you talking about, boy. You better line up and you better roll up your arm, your sleeve. You better take that thing. And y'all sit right up there and lined up and just, yes, sir. It's supposed to be the most secret of organizations in the black community. And they're just throwing out keys. Anyway, last point. This one is a quick one. This is a quick one right here, and then we will be finished. Oh, God. Anyway, so as far as this whole thing goes as far as the boycotts are concerned, let me just say this really quick here. Again, getting into technology now. You can boycott all you want. Boycott is so 1960s, 1950s. No, you could do that all you want. Let me tell you about some of the technologies that are been in play in places like China, and we will be seeing a lot more of that coming here in the United States in the very near future. There is something called cloud manufacturing. Okay, you can look this up on your own. What cloud manufacturing basically is like this, and you got companies that been using this. All right. Let's say, for example, you want to order a purse. You're on a website and you want to order a purse. And you're like, hey, listen, I like that purse. I'm going to pay for it. Click, do your thing, whatever, right? That order will immediately go to a computer or to a server at a manufacturing plant, wherever it is. They will take your order. That computer then will send it to some robot or robots on the assembly line that will go ahead and manufacture on demand what you are asking for. After they manufacture it, they will pack it up, put it in a box, and then drop it in the mail, and you get it in the mail. So there's very little human interaction when it comes to people clicking on their computers for an order and receiving the package that they ordered. Now, by and large, if you look at the numbers, you can look all of this stuff up. Most people still prefer to shop in retail places. That's, if it's in your face, people tend to want to go there. But online retail is on a steady incline, and it has been that for a long time. Do you remember, for some of y'all in the cartoons, you remember that movie, iRobot? WALL-E. I may look that up again. WALL-E is a Disney Pixar movie, but basically I'm not going to get into all in it, but these are the last survivors of the human race, and they were living life on this large ship, and most of them were just sitting down in their recliner chairs and just floating around the ship. Everything they needed or wanted, it was all at a press of a button. They wouldn't even get up, and and at the end of the movie, they were put in a position where they had to stand up on their feet for the first time, because everything they wanted and needed was at a press of a button. What I'm telling you is that was a very prophetic movie, because that's where we're heading to now. And so how does this relate to all this talk, yam about, boycott? You could do that all you want, but at the end of the day, when I listen to these people, all of this argument is about securing space on white people's spaces. In other words, Target. Oh my God, Target's going to stop having black people on their shelves. And that's a whole nother lie that we talked about in the last broadcast. Target never said that. They said they were stopping a program that included, and they were very specific, women, people of color, LGBT, disabled veterans, and veterans and the disabled. That's who they said that they were targeting. All right. And so they said, we are making the decision to stop it. We went in all the details as to why and all of that stuff, but there was absolutely nothing at all that they said that we're going to stop. We're going to start ripping off all of these black manufacturers off of our shelves. Nobody said that. The only people that are out here lying like that are the 92% people. They're the only ones that are telling you these bald-faced lies. They're not saying that. If you are a business, if I'm Target, and let's say in these black individual products that I'm selling, and they're selling very well, I would be a fool to take their stuff off of my shelves, because it's making me money. It's making them money too. Why would I just take it off? But this 92% demographic, they stay in fear, and they want to keep you in fear. and keep you all over the place thinking that, oh my God, they're coming after us, and you gotta walk around with your birth certificate in your back pocket and all this other nonsense. That's not happening. It isn't. There's no evidence of that's happening, and there's nobody in writing otherwise have communicated any of that. The only people that are out here lying are these, I was getting ready to say something, are these fools that are out here putting that stuff out here. That is not happening. If they are making a real profit, then they're going to stay on those shelves. But here's the thing, as we said in the last video, why are you stressed about being on Target? How about take those products and put them in black retail spaces that are owned by black folks? How about do that? How about build up websites that black folks own and start selling them there? You don't have to be in it's all this whole, the white man's ice water is colder. That's really what it comes down to. And it's that particular demographic that we were talking about earlier. They're stuck in a certain time period. They're so happy to be on the shelf of Target somewhere, not realizing that the trends now are everything's going online. Why are you worrying about that? Why are you worrying about, we can now sit at the lunch counter now? Y'all still in lunch counter mindset. Meanwhile, everybody's buying stuff online. Shouldn't you putting your focus on that and making sure that there's ownership there, as opposed to worrying about that? If people were really bought into Tabitha Brown stuff, they would be like, okay, fine, I don't care. I'll just go to her website and buy it. Why is that an issue? Why nobody bringing that up? Or the other person, it's a gentleman I think owns this, the Ghetto Gastro thing. It's like they're like Pop-Tarts, but they're supposed to be more healthy. I tried them. That's a whole nother story. Okay. Anyway, and but they're black owned or whatever. If people are buying it, they don't have to just go there. They can go to the website and buy it. What if, let's say Walmart, Target, Amazon, they say, we just hate the niggas. We're going to just pull all this stuff off our stuff. Okay, then build your own websites. You do it. You build it. But it's almost as if it won't work. Black folks, there are some black folks who adopt this mindset that feel like it will not work unless Mr. Charlie's nearby. Unless we're on Mr. Charlie's shelves, it will never work. And this is the mindset that we want to crush here. Because no, you can do it. You can succeed. Yes, there are obstacles out there. Yes, there are people that don't like you. Get over it, okay? We've been in this country way too long. And if you haven't learned that by now, then you way too late. You don't need to be at Target. You don't need to be in Walmart and all that. And I ain't nobody doing no boycott. And anybody talking that, they're lying. Nobody ain't doing that. Because at the end of the day, most consumers are just that, consumers. They're going to go wherever they need to go to buy what they need. They don't matter. Listen, I was looking for the story. You remember a few years ago, there was a Korean beauty shop. Dude literally was like stomping on this black woman for whatever it was she did. Black folks got mad and angry and all that stuff. And then the Koreans, of course, naturally, they shut down their shop. But the Koreans said, okay, we're going to give him some time. So what did they do? They came out and they said, we're going to have big sale. We do big sale. They did a big sale. You know who was in the longest line that store ever saw? It was black women. So don't tell me, don't come here and be talking to me about some boycott stuff, because I can give you many examples of that. I can give you many examples of that. When it comes to having a memory of stuff like that, I have a good memory of those things. I don't forget things like that. So no, the boycott thing doesn't work. What we should be focused on is building our own infrastructures, building our own things. And like I said, right now, if you are not paying attention to technology, this AI stuff and what's going on right now, someone asked a question the other day. They asked me, and they said, what would you advise somebody who's young and is looking for employment? I think they were in New York or something like that. I said, with the technology that's out right now, there are plenty of people that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars right now just with some of this AI technology right now. I mean, they're making a lot of money. You can program things right now. You don't even have to be a programmer. That can do numbers of things for you. This guy, I watched the guy in 15 minutes build a business in 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, he built a business. He programmed this whole thing with free tools that are out here right now. Free tools. He programmed this thing to go on Facebook and to basically to contact people in Facebook Marketplace and he was looking for particular products. It was like a piano business, like a piano hauling business that he just created on the fly. Because a lot of people had pianos in their house that they're not using, and they're like, man, get this thing out of here because I'll even pay somebody to do it. He said, okay, I'll do it. So he bought the URL. He programmed AI to contact people in Facebook Marketplace. This thing is talking back and forth with the people, setting up pickup times, putting it all on the spreadsheet. He had all his money laid out on how much he was going to make within a month. He already had it laid out. It took him 15 minutes to do this stuff. And you want me to sit up here and be doing a boycott and protest? Oh, we're going to protect the federal workers. There are things you can do right now. But a lot of these fools won't talk about it because they're stuck in their freaking time capsule and they want you to be in there with them. You better wake up. Time is moving very fast, and this is the time to wake up and do it. I don't even care how old you are. There are things you can do right now, okay? Get out of these old mindsets, y'all. There are a lot of things that you can be doing right now, and you can become a lot. You can push it. You can be a lot further along in life than you can be. Don't listen to these fools out here. Don't listen to these people out here. There are a lot of things you can do right now and become a better version of yourself, okay? Which we all are working on. At least I hope we are, okay? Well, that's it. That's all I have for y'all. I had some other things to show you, but I think that's it. I really appreciate y'all being here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you check out, again, subscribe to our email list over at sombertree.com to get part of that herbal warning system that we set up. Make sure you check that out, okay? Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys take care, and I'll see you again soon.